Hello guys, my name is Hassan and today I will be presenting about ethics in accounting. Firstly, I chose accounting because it's the major I'm going to pursue once I join university. I specifically chose ethics because as I wanted to be an accountant, I had to do some reading on accounting. During my reading period, I found out that there are some ethical issues in accounting. I will firstly say the definition of ethics in business. Secondly, I will explain the 5 principles identified by the IFAC, which is an American organization followed by 127 countries around the globe. I will also look at the threats that may lead accountants to lose ethics, which are also identified by the IFAC. Then I will argue that ethics of accounting have to be fundamental, and I will also argue that there are some difficulties in solving ethical issues, and this will be illustrated by the Enron scandal. I will finally be talking about the reflection. First of all, ethics in business is defined as a set of standards based on principles that tell us how we should act. It is not based on feelings, religion, or laws. The first principle identified by the IFAC is integrity, which means accountant must act with honesty and attempt to make statement as easy as possible. The second one is objectivity, which means accountant must not allow bias, different of concerns, or affecting others without any obvious reason. The third one is confidentiality, which means accountant must consider information obtained by view of profession and must not expose any information unless with someone who has the right to be aware of it, or a powerful authority who has also the right to be aware of it. The fourth one is professional competence and due care, which means clients must be provided with the most updated information throughout the whole process. The fifth one is professional behavior, which means accountant must follow all rules and do not allow anything that may destroy the image of the profession. Moving on to the threats. The first threat is called self-interest, and this may occur when an accountant becomes attracted by a financial proposal. The second one is self-review threat, and this may occur when a previous judgment has to be re-evaluated and the process of auditing is not done by the same accountant. The third one is advocacy threat, and this may happen when an accountant boosts an idea that may lead to risk while he is aware of the risk that may happen. The fourth one is familiarity threat, and this may happen when an accountant becomes too sensitive about a close relationship. There are many reasons why ethics of accounting have to be fundamental. First of all, accountants are the ones that are involved in commercial trades. For example, they are usually the ones deciding for companies what is useful for them and what is not useful for them. Secondly, one of the tasks accountants have to do is keeping an accurate number of equipment in firms. And obviously, if a lot of equipment are lost, the business may fail. Finally, accountants are the ones providing clients with information about the state of a company. And even though it may be useful for some accountant to have someone invested in, you must not lie to him, as this will harm the person himself and will not build trust with the public. It has to be clear that there are some difficulties in solving ethical issues. First of all, ethical issues have to be identified. For example, an accountant may do something wrong without noticing how wrong he is doing. The second one is maybe some accountants are not convinced by something wrong. For example, if either or both of the parents have stolen money, who's in this situation, the accountant in front of their children, who's in this case is the accountant may not be convinced that what his parent have done is wrong. The third one, even though some ethical issues are thought to be solved, they still exist. For example, the idea of adding auditors to look after the work of accountants to ensure that the accountant doesn't have any errors in financial statements. The idea is absolutely beneficial and it must have helped a lot of businesses. However, it does not seem to work all the time. This can be illustrated by the Enron scandal which occurred in 2001. Enron was known as one of the biggest companies for producing energy in the USA. The problem began when the company had a lot of debts, and hence they decided to establish partnerships so that the number of debts they had would not appear to the public. On the 16th of October 2001, the Enron company announced decrease in tax income of $544 million, which led the board directors of Enron and its partnerships to form a group of people to launch an unusual review of the transactions of the firm. After the review was completed, on the 8th of November 2001, there was a reduction in the shareholders' equity by $1.2 billion. 3 weeks later, the investors were shocked again after Enron had announced that the company's accountants played with the statement of the company from 1997 all the way to 2001. More importantly, on the 2nd of December 2001, the company announced its bankruptcy. Only within 2 months, the company turned from the most promising company in the USA to the greatest breakdown in the USA history. Let's guys move on to the reflection section. As I had never done an extended project before joining this course, I faced a lot of difficulties. One of them is that my English was not that good, and therefore I was not able to understand articles written in English. However, I remember one of the English teachers saying that the more I read, the better my English becomes. And this is how I came over this issue. Moreover, additionally, even though I made a plan to help me write the essay in a well-organized period of time, I did not follow it, as the plan was not realistic enough to be followed. Moreover, I faced some difficulties in finding academic articles. For example, I did not find an article that shows the definition of ethics in accounting. Finally, it is clear that writing this essay provided me with a lot of benefits. One of them is that having knowledge about the major I'm going to pursue once I join university, which is accounting. Another benefit this essay provided me with is knowing the structure of essays, as I will have to write essays once I join the University of Nottingham. Lastly, this essay improved my language a lot, especially my writing as well as my reading skills, which seem to be needed the most at university. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Here are the references I used.